one here in the finals of the Raptor Gaming Amateur Tournament. We do have Team SAI facing off against Team MCR. Should be an interesting series. $1,000 on the line today, as we just iterated here for the sake of VOD viewership. But alas, here we are, of course, starting a little bit into this replay, so a couple of the bands are already underway. But I'm Zyori. With me is Breaky CPK. Zyori doing a little bit of camera work here today as well, so always looking forward to that. But Breaky, like we said, I know you have a little bit of more insight into these teams, especially our Legion team.
A little bit.
A little, just a pinch.
Not a whole lot. Yeah, I did get the chance to cover, as I was saying again in the pregame, I got the chance to cover MCR, who was actually on the Legion side here in a best set of three against Exclamation Point in the semifinals, and they looked pretty solid. I mean, there's nothing too jaw-dropping by any means, but obviously defeating Exclamation Point, who finished top 4 in the DreamHack North American qualifiers, clearly, you know, a respectable defeat there. So I am looking forward to see what MCR does, but also the side team, I know absolutely nothing about them, and here they are in the finals of this event. So,
yeah, and I mean they do. Obviously, their I guess their gray player here is I mean he's 1900 PSR, so it's obviously they have a couple players here with quite a bit of experience, so it should be an interesting match nonetheless. And I do recognize that the drafter for this Legion, Haddon. For some reason in my mind, I thought that he was associated with Clan Mill. Perhaps it's a different person with a similar name that I'm getting confused with. But
I'm not sure. Yeah, it doesn't stand out. I will say Shift Break actually had some pretty solid play. And Elf of Lorien, actually, he had some fantastic Magnus play. He was a player that really stood out in that series. So definitely looking forward to see what he does here in this game. These games, again, best out of 3.
Yep, definitely right. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the bands here, and I did skip through the replay, so we see all the bands. Ooh, let me set myself to D&D very quickly. Pardon the typing. So anyhow, Legion Saga started off with a band on Jerizaiah, followed up by Kraken, Pebbles, Tempest, Tempest Tundra, Magnus, Bubbles, and Mage Bane. So all things considered, pretty straightforward bands, but Bubbles is definitely the one that jumps out at me. What are you thinking here, Breaky?
Well, yeah, that's definitely, and of course, the thing, again, in an amateur-style event, the first thing that I like to look for is at the picking stage, you know, seeing how the bands are done, see how the picks are done, and just to get an idea of what kind of the teams we're dealing with, whether or not their lack of experience will show, the lack of research will show. For the most part, though, it's definitely been a case of they actually played pretty well. I mean, there's nothing too unorthodox. You mentioned the Bubbles band here. It is slightly, but very likely could be a case of somebody on the Hellborn team just having some fantastic bubble games recently, as it was banned, of course, by our Legion side over here. In fact, you look at our brown player at the bottom there, he definitely has quite a bit of bubbles played recently, so very likely could be a case of that. Yeah, so that's always a bad combination when you're going up against that, so very likely that being the reason.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. I mean, Bubbles is obviously a very, very powerful hero. We see in that suicide lane role quite frequently. So, you know, it's not too surprising. Sort of per usual, as we've been noting with the amateur-style teams, a lot of junglers on the board. Tempest, the only jungler banned, so, of course, Parasite, Keeper, and Ophelia all open, and we'll see if they're capitalized on here. But so far, the picks look, you know, pretty much what we would expect in, you know, kind of any high-level competitive game. First pick, Demented Shaman. You know, all around, both teams drafting, you know, pretty much as expected, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and you see that Legion team again, MCS over there, right-clicking that Monkey King. That is a hero that they did use a couple of games. In fact, the 2 games that they won, I believe, both of them they happen to have Monkey King for them. So clearly a hero that they are comfortable with, and wouldn't be surprised to see it here. Although he's not the most popular hero on the competitive scene, but again, they've actually made him run very well lately. So, but you're right. So far, definitely a powerful lineup in the making. Demented Shaman, Glacius, Moraxis. Couple of interesting right clicks here, though, so I can't wait to see how they finish off. I have a bit of time, though. Hellborn team, you know, same thing, really. Cthulhu Font, Torture, Andromeda, and Silhouette. All very, very powerful heroes, and definitely a bit of lane combination they can do there, as well as even some roaming potential. So, powerful lineups on both sides so far.
Definitely right. I mean, it's nice to see Andromeda, as we've noted quite a bit recently, that Andromeda has been getting a lot more attention, and we've commented quite a bit on how useful she can be even in that late game. But, wow, talk about a strange pick. Swiftblade coming out. I mean, I remember way back when Swiftblade was an instant ban hero, but, I mean, he is virtually ignored now, and they're going to opt with Monkey King as well. So 2 agility carries for our Legion side. Now, this is definitely going to be something interesting.
Agility melee carries on top of it.
Yes.
Monkey King, not as much of a quote-unquote carry. I see him more as a pebble style, to be honest. And the few times that we have seen him, he is more of your mid-game dominating carry hero. If it takes it into the later game, he does scale off a little bit, but he will bring upfront physical damage burst potential. And if you get him to levels, if you get him, an early Souls Bulwark, something like that, he could do quite a bit of damage. So, but yeah, seeing that Swiftblade pickup, I love seeing that. Going to be played by Sailor Poon here for our Legion team, but. Bloodlust kill first right off the bat. Good potential with the hero like that. So that's what he's well known for, of course, with this very powerful spin at level 1. You pair him up with somebody like a Glacius with that Tundra Blast, and you can pretty much guarantee a kill, depending on the target it is. So we'll see if that's something to go for. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Swiftblade brings to the table here for our Legion side.
I'm very curious. I don't think I've ever casted a game that has had Swiftblade in it. Scrim regardless. I mean, he's not even really a popular hero anymore, even by kind of pub standards. So this is really kind of a rare treat. And I think you're exactly right about Monkey King as far as kind of a snowball hero, like as you compared him to kind of a Pebbles. And I think that's pretty spot on. What makes it particularly rare here is seeing him and Swiftblade together. It's pretty rare to see agility melee kind of carries or just melee style heroes in general. So seeing them on the same team is even more surprising.
It is.
Alas, they are going to send Swiftblade Glacius down here to the close lane, so maybe we are going to see some kind of public game style hide in the shop for a quick Bloodlust. I don't know. We'll see what Sailor Poon can do here on this Swiftblade.
That's what I'm saying. He did not go boots first, so not going to be able to go crazy speed. But, of course, 305 movement speed. If he catches, perhaps Andromeda, who's actually going top, so not going to be that. But, unfortunately for them, it is going to be Wretched Hag heading towards the bottom lane. And, obviously, I say unfortunate because with that Blink ability, no way that they're going to be able to get a Bloodlust kill unless he just horribly plays it. So, so yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, but at the same time, Swiftblade should have a very good time when it comes to a farm. You see him scouting with the courier even up here, getting ready for that potential. But again, I think it's also a case of our Hellborn team being pretty aware that Swiftblade is going to possibly be at the bottom lane. So sending a hero like Wretched Hag down there makes a lot of sense. So I want to make sure we're synced up, by the way. Obviously doing replay cast, you're doing camera and everything. Do you mind counting down your in-game counter and in-game
14,
time?
13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Pretty good?
I might need to stop it real quick. Okay, it should be good now. 4, 3, 2, 1. Looks like good. Okay.
Pretty close.
Cool stuff. You see the harassment, though, but yeah, no kill.
Yeah, and that's one of the issues with this Swiftblade Glacius combo is it is pretty predictable. I mean, it's, well, where are they going to go? Probably the close lane. What are we going to do to stop this? Well, let's put one of our Blink heroes down there. Hag was their last pick, so maybe a little bit of that kind of drafting, trying to think ahead. What are they going to do with this Swiftblade? So, definitely some credit to the Hellborn team for presumably picking up that read and reacting appropriately. But that will open up a solo 1v1 lane here in the mid. Monkey King and a solo walk against Torturer, which should be a little bit difficult for Monkey King here. But we'll see how he fares against the Torturer. And then up in the top, we are going to see Cthulhuphant jungling a bit here for the Hellborn side. And then, of course, Silhouette Andromeda going to be facing off against the Meraxis Demented Shaman combo. So, sort of an interesting lane setup here. And I don't know. I mean, both sides sort of have their advantages. It's interesting to see the jungling Cthulhuphant, though. Yeah,
it is. It is here for our Hellborn team. Something it seems like we have been seeing a little bit more of recently at the same time, though. With all these jungle heroes being banned a lot lately, as your Ophelia, your Parasite, Keeper, and of course Tempest, Cthulhuphant has been kind of stepping up as not as a new hero necessarily, but playing more as that even jungle style of hero. So being played that hero, of course, as you mentioned, for our Hellborn team. So we'll see how he does and how he advances. But yeah, I'm really intrigued by Swiftblade again down here at the bottom side. He has free farm. Obviously, with this lane, he's going to be having free farm. At least, hopefully for his sake, he will. So far, it seems like he is missing on a couple of creep kills here and there. So. Unfortunately, not the maximizing his potential, but I wonder if he's going to be going for something like that Rune Cleaver first item. And on Swiftblade, it could actually be pretty powerful in those big team fights if you activate your R. As long as it's just heroes, that is. Could definitely do a bit of damage, but also great farming potential, obviously, at the meantime. At the top lane, actually, Cthulhuphant missing the trample, but Meraxis will be able to fall back. You see the pressure applied to Silhouette, though, just prior to that. But yeah, I wonder if he's going to go for that Rune Cleaver or something else.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thought. With Swiftblade, he certainly has a lot of carry potential. He does have that built-in crit, so, a lot of potential to scale into that late game. But it seems, it's fairly easy for him to get locked down if he doesn't get that early farm, like you said, maybe a Rune Cleaver, then move into a Shrunken Head. But I'm pretty curious as well. I mean, my predictions as far as how to build Swiftblade, I mean, I don't even really know where to start. I have really no basis for Swiftblade builds. I mean, back in the day, he was one of those instant ban heroes, and what was the reason for that, for the most part? Was it that bloodlust potential, or is it more of kind of that ultimate being a free kill if he catches someone solo?
Instant ban? I don't know if I ever really
Didn't he used to be one of those heroes that was, just
I think Kronos was way more than him. I mean, he was played a bit way back. Yeah, that was really old school, I guess. Almost getting to a point where yeah, I was gonna say almost getting to a point where it's even early for me. But he definitely there was a phase, as I bring up the name Kronos. By the way, in the middle lane, you see Torture again taking a lot of pressure there, but gonna survive it in the end. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I think if I had to guess, I mean, I think, with that bloodlust potential, I think that's definitely a big part of it. And the spin can also just be very annoying to deal with in general, not only for the bloodlust, but it does make him magic immune, of course, so he can freely spin all these magic abilities, make him immune to damage and CC, as well as help him in those team fights. Bloodlust goes, attempt to the top lane, Demented Shaman going to go down right there. As we see Cthulhu coming from the jungle, still level 2, actually, but is able to set up the gank there on 2 Demented Shaman, so that's the good start for the Hellborn team. But yeah, I'm not too sure, honestly, at the end with Swiftblade.
I'm not sure either. So it'll be interesting to see how he ends up building. At the very least, he's going to move straight into boots, and we'll keep close tabs on the inventory for sure. In regards to that bloodless kill, kind of unfortunate. Well, maybe not unfortunate. I got to get out of the habit of saying that. In my mind, I always think carry should get that bloodlust. But like I said, after talking to Era, I know the Fnatic strategy is to give those early kills to the supports. So, whether it's intentional or not, Andromeda going to be the one to pick up that bonus bloodlust gold. Yeah. But a really nice gank from the Cthulhu line. Actually did some nice path blocking to set up that Comet stun. And, opened up for a very easy kill on the level 1 Demented Shaman, who, interestingly enough, is giving solo experience to Meraxis, which is sort of intriguing. It's almost like a Meraxis suicide lane up here, but I don't know. I mean, the result is really both now Demented Shaman and Meraxis are horribly underfarmed. And, I mean, Demented Shaman's experience is, he's starting to catch up a little bit, but they're really struggling quite a bit up here in this top lane. I think Demented Shaman may be better off just being a little bit more aggressive in this lane. Now that he's behind an experience, it will definitely make things...
Yeah, I am very surprised about that as well. I mean, Morax's Demented, not necessarily the most ideal as middle lane. Wow, yeah, Torture actually taking out Monkey King, almost dying himself, but I don't know, did you catch that on your camera? I actually did not, unfortunately. Yeah, it seemed like Torture doing a bit of diving there at the tower even to get a kill for himself. So that's well played on Torture's part. Bottom lane in the meantime, again, another kill happening this time on Glacius, as Wretched Hag doing some roaming and picking up the kill. So missing kills left and right. Hopefully at least you're catching them. But 3-0 hero kill advantage here already for a Hellborn team. But yeah, to go back to your point though, I mean, yeah, it's not like your Zephyr Demented Shaman or Demented Armadon or something like that, but at the same time, you would think you could still play a little bit more aggressive. I mean, Andromeda, not really the greatest babies to support when it comes to harassment. They are on the long lane, though. It's and you do have to worry about Cthulhu being in the jungle, as he's already shown, coming out to get the bloodlust kill. So I can kind of see it, I guess. But
I mean,
yeah.
They do have a ward up blocking this spawn, which gives a lot of sight as far as Cthulhu roaming into the lane. So they're a little bit covered in that regard. And I mean, Meraxis has a hatchet as well. Looking at his farming, he at least has 120 GPM. Looking at his creep, I mean, he's only 8-0. So with that Demented Shaman, I mean, just run in, get the last hit, use your hatchet, what have you. I mean, you have Demented Shaman there to heal you up throughout some of that harassment. Burn some of that mana just to pick up that farm. Because right now, I mean, Meraxis, he's a hero that can take off, but he definitely benefits from some of that early farm. And seeing him this low, I mean, it's going to be a long while before Meraxis picks up a portal key in this game, which of course does make me a little bit nervous. But that free farming Swiftblade, as we talked about, now starting to pick up a little bit. Still a little bit disappointing that he hasn't been able to break that 300 GPM mark. Kind of given his status in this game against Wretched Hag. We'll see. In the mid lane, though, Monkey King in some trouble. Looks like Monkey King is going to fall. Going to try and eat that regen rune right at the last second, but Torturer will land that uphill auto attack. So a little bit of RNG in favor of Torturer there, but a nice kill nonetheless. So that's 2 kills now in favor of Torturer. Monkey King really struggling in that mid lane, kind of like we would expect, but kind of unfortunate. Now Silhouette as well as Torturer farming very nicely here for the Hellborn side.
Yeah, and I still think, obviously Silhouette has an assist, but the fact that they're basically tied in GPM between Silhouette and Swiftblade. In fact, Silhouette's been leading for most of it. It is really unfortunate news here for this Legion team because he has been free farming this bottom lane. There really is no excuse as to why his GPM shouldn't be even a little bit higher. But again, just not able to capitalize off getting all those last hits, and it will add up throughout this game. So we see Monkey King once again jumping on a Torturer, goes back goes back in even, but not going to be any kills. In fact, look at the return damage from Torturer actually going on him using those bottle charges, and Monkey King needs to be able to dodge the stun. He's going to put, he does dodge a chain reaction, doing a lot of damage in the meantime with that Heavenly Fall, going back in with the Wanjin Slim, but not going to be able to get the kill. So a lot of back and forth harassment here happening in this middle lane. That's been constantly happening for that matter. Just so happens Torturer is able to kill him twice, barely surviving it seems like, but at least Torturer's one staying alive.
Yeah, I mean, they're both playing very, very aggressive and both doing pretty well. Unfortunately for Torturer, though, he doesn't really have much rune control right now. That is one big advantage to Monkey King in the mid lane. Of course, with that ultimate, the Flying Nimbus, he is very, very fast, which does lead to pretty effective rune control here. As him and Torturer are both on red boots, both have the rune warded. So Monkey King, I think he's picked up the majority of the runes. He's picked up at least 3 of them that I've noticed, and now he's going to grab this illusion. So that is one good sign for him, although despite Torturer being up 2-0. I mean, Torturer's farm is pretty damn good as well, leading a game around 330 GPM, so that's always sort of a scary sign when you see a Torturer doing that well. Up in the top, Cthulhuphant going to wander his way into the lane. It looks like he's going to throw down a ward here, but not going to be able to set up a kill, so that's kind of unfortunate. In the bottom, Wretched Hag going in on the Glacius. There's the Bat Blast. Oh, Swiftblade going to use the ultimate, but it's going to take a jump onto a creep. Oh my, Breaky, that is so unfortunate for Swiftblade. It looks like RNG is not on the side.
I don't know why it took him so long to spin right there on top of that. And meanwhile, at the top lane, we do see Mirax is going to be taken out. Obviously, you say, why would he spin? He could blink away. What was it? When he's in the freeze, he can't, so he should have spun from the very beginning. Demented Shaman also going to get taken out. They just completely dive the tower. They are also going to push this top tower in the meantime. Again, with 4 of them here. So our Legion team, kind of falling apart into several different lanes. But yeah, I just don't get why Swiftblade wasn't spinning right from the very beginning of that Ice Imprisonment to maximize his damage potential. He definitely had enough mana for both, as I made sure after he used Azar he could have spun. So the top tower, though, does go down, and our Hellborn team's lead now 6,500 gold lead, 3,400 experience lead. And that Silhouette, that is the big key here on top of all their success. Her farm is now looking very dominant, and we've seen it even as much as recently, and obviously just throughout Han's history, ever since Silhouette has been in the game. You give her a farm like this to start with, very, very, very difficult to slow down, let alone stop in the end. So she's got that start. Torturer remains even ahead of her, though, for that matter, and that's another scary hero, especially in the earlier on game, if he can get his farm. Yeah, not looking too good right now for our MCS team here in the early parts, only 10 minutes in now.
Yeah, certainly right. Only 10 minutes in and still a pretty big deficit to overcome. And as a few people noted in chat, with this Legion roster, they have have a free-farming Swiftblade. The Hellborn team has practically had a free-farming Silhouette, seeing her going up against the Demented Shaman Miraxis combo. Just looking at that farm difference, Silhouette's had a really good time, and I think in pretty much any situation, Silhouette with free farm is going to be so much more valuable than Swiftblade with free farm. So that's just sort of one pitfall that this Legion team is falling into already, kind of despite the 0-7 hero kill score, and of course conceding that early tower. That's just a problem with their lineup in general. And I mean, Monkey King is, he did pick up some creep kills mid, hovering around 200 GPM, but it's one of those cases where it just needs to be higher than that, looking at the farm that everyone on this Hellborn team has. I mean, even Andromeda is bordering that 200 GPM mark.
Yeah, even Andromeda is better than 3 of the players on our Legion side, including Moraxis, for that matter. So, yeah, it's bad news bears all around here for our Legion side. And now, again, this kind of does take me back to that previous series that I said I cast at the semifinals, MCS versus Exclamation Point, where MCS, they got dominated the first game. It was this, maybe even more of a domination. So, don't let that fool you that despite them, maybe not playing the greatest this first game, they did go with kind of a risky pick in Swiftblade, and although he had free farm, and wasn't necessarily capitalizing. Worst comes to worst, they go into game 2, and comeback definitely very, very possible, again, with the way they played in that previous series. But for here, it is looking like our Hellborn team could be on their way to a fairly easy victory. I mean, I just don't see many hopes here for our Legion side. I mean, Swiftblade's farm continues to not be horrible, but it's just not nearly good enough. He's got a sustainer, so again, that could still be a null stone, and against this Hellborn team, I wouldn't be too surprised to see that, but yeah, I mean, no matter what decision he makes, he is going to be behind, whether it is the Rune Cleaver or the null stone at this point, so yeah, I don't see much hope here for our Legion team, but we'll see if MCS can have a comeback now.
Definitely right, and I think the point you made about this Legion team making a comeback in the semifinals is particularly powerful because they were up against Exclamation Point, which we noted did very well in the Dream Han event. We are going to see Richard Hag in some trouble here. There's that Glacius freeze, so they do manage to pick up that kill onto Hag. Monkey King actually going to come in to be the one to pick up that last hit. Monkey King now in a bit of trouble. He is going to be able to scoot out of the impalement, use those Ghost Marchers, and it looks like he's going to be able to make it home safe and sound. And there's that Volt. So indeed he shall. So not a bad lineup, and I guess Swiftblade a little bit more eager to use that Blade Frenzy there up against the Glacius Freeze, of course, setting up that kill. But yeah, the point that I was making, explanation, if they can do it against Exclamation Point, that definitely speaks to some of the power of this Legion team. Like you said, maybe the risky pick in Swiftblade working against them here, but that doesn't mean that they're out of this series despite Game 1 looking a bit grim. And there's always room for a little bit of the throwing action. The Hellborn side certainly is at that point where they could overcommit. A genocide in favor of the Legion side would turn this game around, by a huge margin. But in the bottom lane, we do see Meraxis in some trouble. He's going to get that ultimate off. 4 ports coming in. All 5 of the Legion team are down here now to try and turn this around. Torturer may be in some trouble, and Pamelman's going to be used as Monkey King tries to chase her down, but not enough mana to slow her down. We do see Andromeda hiding at the neutrals here, and she's going to be able to pour it out. So this Legion side, everyone's going to pour it in. They will save Meraxis, but unfortunately a lot of sunk costs there, and now everyone's going to be kind of stuck around this bottom lane with no heroes to kill. Hopefully they can at least push a lane to try and make something out of this. Hag going to be in a little bit of trouble. She's going to wander into this Legion team. Going to use the Back Blast to just annihilate Glacius and then try to make the getaway here. Is Monkey King going to have the damage? Nope. Hag going to be able to blink away, so very unfortunate for Alpha.
See, well, that's the, I don't know if you're watching it from the beginning there, but that's kind of the one of the downsides of playing Monkey King. He can get a little bit too crazy at times when he flies around like he does. And right there, it was just a matter of Monkey King doing his combination, actually, Ron. He ended up, Swiftblade, good job taking out Torch at the bottom lane, but he jumped way past Wretched Hag after the freeze came out, and which ultimately allowed Wretched Hag to just sit there and obviously use the Bat Blast in the face of Glacius to kill him and then eventually get away. So yeah, just unfortunate that Monkey King kind of used his combination so off right there. Wasn't able to pick up the kill, but Wretched Hag nearly dying once again, but is somehow once again able to get away at the last second and will be fine here. So now 14.5 minutes in, again, our Hellborn team continues to be in a pretty big lead. Silhouette at the top lane, Monkey King doing some harassment to her, but just once again, not nearly enough damage for any kill. She has a Blessed Orb, got that Ring of the Teacher, and already another 1,500 gold saved up, so already onto her next big item as well. So yeah, items definitely adding up left and right here for our Hellborn side at least. Again, not so much for our Legion team, but Swiftblade, I mean, he continues to advance. I mean, he's now up to 333 gold per minute. He's definitely getting up there, and I think, okay, he did finish Ghost Marchers there, so I was going to say either he has one of his broadswords or... So he got Ghost Marchers as bottom lane, well, Demented Shaman by himself. Not going to be able to do too much, so, but, yeah, it's, I don't know.
It's kind of unfortunate for Demented Shaman. Right now, that's one of the big problems with this Legion side. Their supports are really getting picked on. If you look at the, KDAs of this Legion side, the support between the two supports between the two of them are 0, 6, and 1. So it's one of these situations where you have these two supports that can barely afford wards, let alone any core items, and they're just underleveled, easily getting picked off. And some of that goes back to Demented Shaman, only level 4. He sacrificed a lot of that experience early on from Meraxis, who, all things considered, still isn't really that highly leveled. If you look at the XP per minute, he's right in the middle of the pack. So it seems like that sacrifice that Demented Shaman made early on, that kind of ripple effect, still really holding him back in this game now 15 minutes in. And, really pretty unfortunate. If you look at the inventories of Glacius and Demented Shaman, somehow Glacius was able to afford some boots, but other than that, still looking pretty grim.
Yeah, Swiftblade being level 11, I mean, with that level 2 Swift Slashes now, in fact, he's going to use it right here on a Silhouette, and that will be... Oh, no, the split up from Silhouette, it gets a distro, and I wasn't even aware that would actually happen. So you see, oh, nice, get through the fun. There's the swap from Andromeda, and Swiftblade will end up going down as Silhouette just laughs in his face with great team support. Wow. Did she even get the kill? She did. Wow. That was epic. I was completely unaware that the ultimate disjoints like it does right there. Again, that makes her a huge huge counter to Swiftblade in that sense. The fact that she can make him stop bouncing basically if she's by herself. But anyways, Meraxis will get picked off in the middle lane as well. Wow, though. I mean, I still can't believe that. Not only the disjoint happened, but she got away in the end. I mean, hell of a team support, too.
Yeah, you're exactly right. With Silhouette, I mean, I had no idea as well. One of those things, again, so rare that we see Swiftblade let alone up against the Silhouette, but that disjoint, wow. I mean, I don't... Was that just a matter of one of the illusions was caught in fog, so it was just like, oh, there's no one else here, or is that truly...
I guess it basically makes her, like, invisible for that split second, so he doesn't have a target to bounce to.
Wow, that is an incredible hard counter to that hero. Like you said, I mean, that really throws a wrench into the mix here as far as this Legion team. We see in the jungle, Hag just going to go straight in with the Bat Blast. Demented Shaman going to be able to keep Monkey King alive. Is Hag going to try and man up here to finish off this kill? I think Hag does have an empty bottle, so it's going to be a little bit rough. Just look how hard Hag hits that Demented Shaman. We see Hag still without boots, so just going straight for... I mean, Hag's inventory in general is sort of a mismatch of Blessed Orb towards Nullstone, Apprentice Rose sort of towards that Hellflower, and then just Pretender's Crown for good measure. Kind of an interesting Hag build.
Yeah.
But, wow. So things continue to look good for the Hellborn side. Of course, that double tap in the mid lane that we saw a few moments ago, Torture able to pick off Glacius and ultimately turn it around with the assistance of Hag on... Meraxis, pardon me, furthering things here. Silhouette now up to 400 GPM after surviving that little skirmish in the top lane that we were just commenting on. So Silhouette becoming that scary carry now with the Nullstone. Swiftblade almost in a little bit of trouble here. He's going to be able to spin out and will be able to survive just fine. If only Silhouette had that portal key, would have been a fairly easy kill for her.
Yeah. Come on, Silhouette. Why don't you have your portal key yet? Come on. You only got your Steve's Nullstone. You're 18.5 minutes in. That's ridiculous. Yeah, she's farming 406 gold per minute, so yeah, you know, portal key, on that point. Wouldn't be surprised to see that as the next item, but Monkey King, I mean, he's been doing his best to recover. You see the Ghost Marches early on, the bottom working on a Soul's Bulwark. Yeah, he needs to get away, though. You see Andromeda and Silhouette charging in. That forces him to run completely into the Hellborn jungle, where he's eventually going to Homecoming Stone port out. Broadsword picked up on Swiftblade, so that does answer our question of what it actually was going to be. They get caught in the chain reactions down here in the middle lane. In comes Swiftblade, though. He doesn't even need to use the ultimate. Look at Meraxis dropping, but activates his own ultimate and will help set up the turnaround on a Torturer. So a nice little kill right there happening for MCS here, a Legion team, but... In the meantime, some split pushing going on. Wretched Egg at the bottom lane, pushing that lane up. And then you have Andromeda and Silhouette at the top lane, doing their thing up there. So our Legion side, once again, forced to make a decision, who they want to commit to, where they want to stop. It looks like both sides are going to end up falling back, but the pressure just continues on and on here by our Hellborn side for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely no reason for him to be anything but unrelenting with the pressure with this nicely they've set up for themselves, especially given the farm of, I mean, Silhouette and Torturer, but, I mean, also just Hag as well as Cthulhuphant now are in pretty good shape. We're going to see Silhouette in kind of an awkward spot here. Does she have an illusion somewhere? Is that Silhouette? Okay, up there, so she's going to be, just wasn't sure if she had that ultimate activated as Meraxis kind of cornered her in. Monkey King now has his Soul's Bulwark, so that's certainly a powerful item in the hands of a hero like Monkey King. But what do you make of Swiftblade moving into the Runed Axe now? I mean, he is going to have it right around maybe the 21-minute mark, 22-minute mark. I mean, what's your take on that? Good item here. Maybe you should have tried something else, given how far behind they are.
It is a really powerful item, as I kind of went on before, especially in those team fights. If you press that R, with the Rune Cleaver, it can do even that much more damage. And on top of that, it's an excellent farming tool, especially with this crit passive. I mean, he could just take out creep waves in 1 or 2 hits as the game progresses with that Rune Cleaver. So it will enhance his farm by a lot. I mean, that's just, of course, the given of the item. So yeah, I mean, I don't personally have it. It's obviously a lot later than he would have liked to get it, especially with the free farm that he had earlier on, but still going for it. It's not one of those cases, it's not like other heroes where it's, you didn't get it early on, you might as well not go it. I still think on a hero like Swiftblade, it's very, very valuable. Kind of like a Dark Lady as well, but, yeah, I mean, we'll see how he follows it up.
Arcane Shield. Yeah, oh, sorry to
No, yeah, that's
you're right.
I was watching that.
Yeah, Meraxis with a beautiful Arcane Shield actually absorbs the Comet Stun, so that'll be enough to secure his health. Very well done there by Hatton. Nice timing indeed. But, I mean, Silhouette now taking their Ancients. I mean, the Hellborn side just really furthering their lead. Silhouette's just running around the map, having a grand old time. About 1,700 in the bank, probably going to be saving up for that portal key. At least that would be my guess. If I was Silhouette here, I would want to have a portal key to move around a little bit faster. But who knows? Swiftblade, I think he is now finished his Runed Cleaver. He spent some gold, and I don't see the Courier. So it looks like Courier's down here in the box. So, I would guess he has it in the bank, and he's going to be able to pick it up here. So we'll see if his farm truly does skyrocket like it should, and if that'll be enough to kind of get his team back in this game. On top of that, my question is, what's he going to do with that farm? Where is he going to go from here? Is he going to go just straight for a Shrunken Head, or maybe just even into a Shield Breaker to try to become a bit more of a hard carry? I'm pretty curious.
Well, that's where it's tough. I mean, I don't necessarily think Shieldbreaker should be a priority here. More honestly, think something like a Helm of the Black Legion to follow this up wouldn't be a bad option here for a Swiftblade because there's a good amount of burst damage coming out from our Hellborn team, and they have some gotcha potential. With that Helm that will increase his survivability, especially against a hero like Silhouette. She starts pounding on those right-click auto attacks. And you mentioned Shrunken Head. I mean, Shrunken Head could definitely be a powerful item on him as well. But of course, with that spin again, and as the game progresses, when we reach the mid, especially the late game, they will Swiftblade players, as rare as they are nowadays, but you'll only see them use the spin for survivability purpose, for getting away, for being magic immune in those team fights, and so that's kind of like that Shrunken Head when you think about it. So in that sense, you could argue that may not be worth the investment because later on you'll be using the spin anyways, but when the spin's down, then you don't have it. So, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the one value to Shrunken Head is, spin certainly defensively, but to be really offensive, of course, there comes that point where your melee attack DPS is so much higher than your spin with that 50% slower auto attack. So that's where the Shrunken Head does help come into play. You can kind of man up on someone like Torture, get right in their face, but, you do make a good point. And a lot of people in chat are saying, Genjuro kind of a style.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. That's if obviously, again, with this passive, kind of like Gladiator 2 with his flagellation. I mean, Assassin Shroud can be powerful on a hero like Swiftblade. That's no doubt eventually like Genjuro. So there's many options. I mean, Frostburn also the other one that's being thrown around. Again, that's definitely another solid choice. But I think we've listed off basically every single item he could possibly go at this point. So we'll see.
Rainbow's the only one left.
We'll see. Yeah, I personally like the Helm of the Black Legion. I really do, but I don't think he's going to go that in the end, though.
Yeah,
Kongor being attempted.
Yeah, exactly right. Of course, no wards here for the Legion's side. Their closest one is a little too deep in the jungle to give some sight on the Kongor, so looks like the Hellborn side, Team SAI, going to get pretty much unchecked Kongor kill unless someone happens to stumble their way over here. But Kongor is getting dangerously low, and he's going to fall here in just a couple seconds. And it looks like going to be easy peasy. Token probably going to fall into the hands of Silhouette, who does now have a portal key, so... of course, she's going to be that dangerous initiation tool that we all know she can be. But 25 minutes in, the lead just continues. Now 16k gold, about 12k experience, and really no signs of the Hellborn team letting up the pressure anytime soon. They've, oddly enough, only taken out all the Tier 1 towers, yet to pick up a Tier 2 tower kill, really speaking to how much more effectively they've been farming around the map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And picking up hero kills, of course, 12-3.
Yeah, I mean, our Legion team... And I don't know if it's necessarily because they're playing it more the help. By the way, you see Silhouette trying to jump Swiftblade right there, but he did activate his spin before the tree grapple hit, but it's not going to be enough. Nice chain reactions right as the spin wore off. Ooh, Swiftblade, he probably should have... I mean, again, there really wasn't much time, but if he turned around with an R right there, could have actually done quite a bit for his team, but unable to do so, and he ends up getting picked off. And did I just see that correctly? I'm pretty sure I just saw Wretched Act right-click a Frostwolf Skull. I think she just did, so... She has a Frostwolf Skull going. It's 25 and a half minutes into the game, and a Wretched Hag is going Frostwolf Skull first out. She doesn't even have boots! What the hell? We do see initiation, though, here in the meantime. Silhouette will get picked off, but of course, going to come right back up. There's a swap from him to drop it. Automoraxis activates the ultimate. There's the Arcane Shield, but it's probably not going to be enough in the end. Just too much damage happening. Monkey King doing its Monkey King style right there. Flying around all over the place. Will help pick off Andromeda, but a nice tree grapple. Portal Key initiation from Silhouette again. That's why you get that item on her. Sets up those tree grapples so nicely and easily drops Monkey King. So a 4-for-1 exchange right there when it's all said and done. They're going to kill the tower. How about this Wretched Hag, though? I mean, no boots, yet just right-click the Frostwolf Skull. That's pretty damn hilarious.
Yeah, I'm a little bit shocked. I mean, given that she has the Blessed Orb already, I can see how she's able to afford it, but wow. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a Frostwolf Skull before boots. First time for everything, I guess.
That's just ridiculous.
I
got blink. I don't need boots. I just blink away.
Well, I mean, in her defense, it seems to be working pretty well thus far. Wretched Hag is 6-1. 6-1-2 doesn't seem to be having too many problems in the mobility department.
Yeah.
So, more power to you. It's kind of all I have to say to that one, it's one of those things. If you're doing well without boots, don't fix what's not broken. Why waste an inventory slot?
I disagree with that completely. Well, because in the end, it's not just the thing is too. It gets you quicker to places to farm more. I mean, boots are just number one, like the most not the most overpowered, but like the necessity item in the game out of all items. Obviously, homecoming stone, things like that. But boots are just you need to have boots. I mean. It gets you places faster. That's just always a good thing. There's never a bad reason for that.
Well,
As nice jump on a Monkey King there.
Mr. XSV. Wow, that's really a tongue twister.
Yeah.
May prove you wrong here. We'll see. We'll see if he picks up boots in the next couple minutes before they really put that.
He could
final
go
blow
50-0, and I would still argue that getting boots is by all means he should have got boots. Like I'm sorry, there's no reason not to get boots.
Boots are red boots may be one of the most cost-effective items in the game next to Ring of the Teacher. I will give you that. So it makes very little sense from an economic standpoint not to invest in the boots. Like you said, you can move around faster, so it allows you to get places to farm faster, and they pay for themselves after X amount of time. So I would tend to agree with you on that front, my friend.
Yeah. Anyways, ooh, Glacius is dead. I was gonna say.
Just racking up those kills, boot free. I don't know.
Doing work here. Doing work. 8-1 and 2. Just God, Frost of Skull first item. I still can't get over that. Like, I wonder if this is kind of a serious game, or if it just because of the circumstances. Like, you know what? How funny would it be if I don't go boots and I also right-click a Frost of Skull? This early on in the game. Oh, look at that. We have a vote to concede actually coming out from our Legion team. You see Wretched Egg is going to get jumped down here by Monkey King, but well, she blinks away. So yeah, she don't need no damn boots. GG's being called, and well, I tried to type out GG well played in chat. That's funny. This ain't no live cast. We are doing replay cast, but yeah, that is going to do it. So SAI, our Hellborn team here, will take the first game. After hearing this best of 3 for the Raptor Gaming Amateur Cup Finals. So congratulations to them. They're one step closer now to becoming the champions and taking their part of that $1,000 prize pool. So again, good chunk of money on the line, especially for an amateur event. We'll see if MCR, like we talked about in the semifinals, see if they have that comeback in them.
Exactly right. So, again, as we mentioned, the semifinals looked strikingly similar to this, kind of a stomp or a convincing victory for the opposing team, and then they were able to bring it back 2 wins in a row over exclamation points. So, like I said, if they did it to a team that was in the top 4 in their region in DreamHawn, I think there's a chance they could do it here. So I'm pretty pumped up to see what they have in store for this upcoming game.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see, indeed, what they follow up that Swiftblade pick with. And again, he actually did pretty decent that game. I really don't think that proved to be a bad pick in the end. It's just, overall, I guess that top lane really did screw them in. Monkey King not having a successful time in the middle didn't help things either. So, good play by SAI, though, our Hellborn team. And, again, that leads us into the second game. So, stay tuned, guys. We're going to have our second game coming up. We'll be right back with that as soon as we get the replay loaded and up to go. So sit tight, guys.